I'm 52. And she still climbs me like we're newlyweds, yeah. I said it, after 28 years together, 2 kids, a mortgage, gray hairs, bad knees, and nights when we both fall asleep on the couch by 9:30. My wife still looks at me across the kitchen sometimes like I'm the only man on earth. And when the bedroom door closes, the hunger hasn't faded. If anything, it's deeper, slower, more deliberate. And somehow hotter than it was at 25. If you're watching this and thinking, that's impossible. That only happens in movies, stay with me. Because today I'm going to show you exactly why that fire is not only possible after decades. It's predictable when you understand the real science of lasting desire. I'm the intimacy doctor, real talk. Real science, real intimacy. Let's start with the moment that changed everything for me as a therapist and as a husband. A man in his late 50s sat in my office, voice cracking, and said, "Doc, we haven't touched each other in 3 years. I love her. But the spark is dead." 2 seats away, his wife stared at the floor, silently crying. I've seen that scene hundreds of times. But what almost no one sees is the other waiting room, the one filled with couples my age and older who can't keep their hands off each other. Same generation. Same stresses. Same gravity pulling at their bodies. Completely different outcome. So what's the difference? Why do some marriages turn into quiet roommates while others turn into slow-burning, lifelong romances that get richer with time? The first truth most people miss is this: passion doesn't die from age. Dies from neglect of emotional connection. You've heard the cliché happy wife, happy life, but the research is actually more precise. A 20-year longitudinal study out of the University of Chicago found that the single biggest predictor of high sexual satisfaction after 25 years of marriage wasn't physical health, wasn't income, wasn't even frequency of sex early in the relationship. It was something called perceived partner responsiveness, how much each person felt truly seen, heard, and valued by the other on an ordinary Tuesday. In plain English, the couples still climbing each other at 50, 60, 70 are the ones who never stopped having the 11 p.m. kitchen conversations. They're the ones who still ask, "How did that meeting really make you feel?" And then actually listen to the answer without jumping in to fix it. Think about your own relationship for a second. When was the last time you felt completely emotionally naked with your partner, not physically naked, emotionally naked, and they met you with curiosity instead of judgment or advice? If it's been a while, that's not a passion problem. That's an emotional safety problem. And desire cannot survive where emotional safety has left the building. Have you ever noticed that the best sex of your life usually followed the deepest conversation of your life? That's not a coincidence. Neurochemically, vulnerability floods the brain with oxytocin and dopamine in the exact same cocktail you got during the falling in love phase. The pathway back to newlywed level heat isn't a little blue pill or fancy lingerie. It's the courage to say, "Here's the part of me I usually hide. Can you handle it?" When the answer is consistently yes, the body remembers how to want. Let's go deeper. Most of us grew up with a completely backward map of how attraction works long term. Hollywood sold us the idea that desire is sparked by mystery and distance. Keep them guessing. Play hard to get. But 30 years of attachment research says the opposite is true. Secure attachment, the deep knowing that this person has my back no matter what, is the single greatest aphrodisiac on earth. I want you to try a quick experiment right now. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and picture the person you trust most in the world. Feel that soft warmth in your chest? That's the neurological green light for intimacy. Now imagine trying to feel turned on by someone you secretly worry is one bad day away from leaving. You can't. The brain will not release the chemicals of passion when it doesn't feel safe. That's why the couples who are still tearing clothes off in their 50s and 60s have usually done 2 things ruthlessly well. They repaired ruptures fast. And they kept curiosity alive. Repairing ruptures fast means you don't let resentment sit and fester. John Gottman's lab can predict divorce with 93% accuracy by watching how couples handle conflict in the first 3 minutes. The masters of long-term passion use what he calls a softened startup. Instead of, "You never help around here," they say, "Hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed and could really use a teammate tonight, can we talk?" Same issue. Totally different nervous system response in the listener, and keeping curiosity alive? That's the part most people abandon by year 10. We think we know our partner. But people aren't static. The woman I married at 24 is not the same woman sleeping next to me at 52. She's braver now. Wiser. Sexier in ways I couldn't have imagined then. If I relate to her as the 1997 version, I miss the masterpiece standing in front of me today. Here's a practice that changed my own marriage and the marriages of hundreds of my clients, the 20-second daily download. Every single night, no matter how tired we are, we lie in bed, phones away, and one of us asks, "What was the best part of your day? And what was the hardest?" That's it. 10 minutes max. But over months and years, those 20 seconds a day become a PhD in the ever-evolving soul of your partner. And nothing, turns a woman on more than feeling deeply. Continuously known. Pause for a second and ask yourself, when was the last time I was genuinely curious about what's happening inside my partner's inner world? If you can't remember, that's your starting point. Not date nights. Not toys. Not vacations. Curiosity. Now let's talk about the body. Because I know some of you are thinking, that's great, doc. But gravity is undefeated. Here's the truth no one says out loud. Aging bodies can become more erotically superior to young bodies, but only when we shift from performance-based sex to presence-based sex. In our 20s. Sex is often about how hard, how long, how many positions, how loud. By our 50s, if we're lucky, we've finally figured out that the most intense orgasms happen when two nervous systems are completely tuned to each other, breathing together. Eye contact, slow touch, whispered check-ins like, does this feel good? Or, tell me what you need right now. That kind of sex doesn't require a six-pack or perfect breasts. It requires emotional presence. And presence is a skill that actually improves with age. There's a beautiful study from the archives of sexual behavior that followed couples from age 20 to 70. The researchers expected sexual satisfaction to decline steadily. Instead, they found a U-shaped curve. Satisfaction dropped in the child-rearing years, then began climbing again in the 40s and 50s, often surpassing early relationship highs, for couples who reported high emotional intimacy. The body changes, yes. But the capacity for pleasure expands when we trade athletic sex for soul-merging sex. One more insight, maybe the most important one. The secret sauce that separates the couples who are done touching from the couples who can't stop touching is something psychologists call differentiation. It's the ability to stay deeply connected while still being a separate, sovereign person with your own passions, friendships, and inner life. Paradoxically, the more completely you belong to yourself, the safer it feels to surrender to someone else. When both partners keep growing, reading new books, picking up new hobbies, facing their own fears, there's always something new to discover in each other. Boredom is the enemy of desire, but mystery cultivated inside a safe attachment is rocket fuel. I see it every week in my practice. The wife who started training for a half marathon at 51. The husband who finally went to therapy and learned to cry. The partner who took up salsa dancing or painting or volunteering. Suddenly the person they've slept next to for decades feels electric again, not because they changed their body, but because they became more themselves. So if you're sitting there at 40, 50, 60, wondering if the best days are behind you, they're not. They're waiting on the other side of emotional courage. Let me leave you with the exact roadmap my wife and I still use, 28 years in, to keep the newlywed fire burning. 1. Every day. 1 genuine moment of curiosity about her inner world. 2. Every week. 1 intentional repair if we've been snippy or distant. 3. Every month. 1 experience that's new to both of us, a cooking class, a hike, a concert, something that gives our brains fresh shared memories. 4. And every night, skin-to-skin contact with no agenda. 10 minutes of cuddling, stroking hair, tracing spines. It recalibrates the entire nervous system for connection. Do those 4 things religiously. And I promise you, the climbing never stops. If this video hit something deep in you, if you're feeling seen or hopeful or even a little scared of how much you want this, do 3 quick things for me. Hit the like button so this message reaches more people who need it. Drop a comment with your age and 1 thing you're committed to trying this week, because your story might be the spark someone else needs today, and subscribe and turn on notifications. Because every week we go deeper into the real science and soul of extraordinary relationships. And when you're ready for the next piece, how to rebuild trust and desire even after betrayal or years of distance. The video popping up right now is the one you don't want to miss. You deserve a love that still makes your body hum at 50, 60, 70, and beyond. It's not luck. It's skill. And you've already taken the first step by being here. See you in the next one. I'm the Intimacy Doctor. And I believe in you.